Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live. Today, with this week's roundup of chamber music live stream action for the week of May 26th, Tuesday, until June 2nd, which is another Tuesday. You can enjoy the rare treat of an oboe quartet on Tuesday, May 26th, as Noontime Concert San Francisco live streams the Strobe Quartet, playing works by Benjamin Britten, his confidant Lennox Berkeley, Mozart, and contemporary composer Alexis Allwright. The founders of this group are oboist Laura Griffiths and cellist Chrysanthi Despy. It's Laura Keller on the violin, Elizabeth Pryor on the viola. They've been around for a decade, working with various contemporary composers. And individually, they're all active with various Bay Area orchestras. I think all of them play in one capacity or another with the San Francisco Opera Orchestra and or the San Francisco Ballet Orchestra. They'll start out with Britten's Fantasy Quartet, Phantasy, Opus 2, composed, the second work recorded for him, which he composed while he was still a student at the Royal College of Music. Then they'll play a piece by contemporary composer Alexis Allwright. It'll be a selection from her composition Watercolors, composed in 2018. It's a 4-movement piece which depicts the bodies of water near her home, but I'm not sure which selection it is. Then they'll do Lennox Berkeley's Oboe Quartet, composed in 1967. He studied with Nadia Boulanger, I think at the recommendation of Benjamin Britten, later became a confidant of sorts or a close friend of Britten's. And they will then finish up with Mozart's Oboe Quartet from about 240 years ago, Kerschel number 370, 368B, composed in 1781. So that's what's coming up at 12:30 San Francisco time. Check it out. I think the next selection we have to tell you about is the duo Pleyel. March Vivo climaxes its series of live streams for four-hand piano music with the duo Pleyel, Richard Egar and Alexandra Nepomniaskaya, playing the great pedagogue Carl Czerny's transcription of a piano four-hands version of Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony. That'll be at 6 o'clock in the evening here in Europe on Wednesday, noon in New York, 9 in the morning in San Francisco. This has been they do these series of sessions of 3, 4, 5 sessions on a particular subject. So if you've been following Access Arts Live over the last month, you've been aware of the other sessions, could enjoy them. We don't recommend watching recordings. We recommend watching the real thing when the artist is alive and playing for you. Anyway, so their full the full program is Charles Burney's Sonata Number 1 in F major, Book 1, Mozart's Sonata in F major for four-hand piano, Kerschel 497, and then they'll do Beethoven and Carl Czerny's four-hands deal. They're playing on an original historic Pleyel piano from 1839. They were formed about 8 years ago, and they play a variety of music. They've recorded Bach, Dussek, Mozart, Schubert. Their latest album, Yuletide Treats, in December 2024, was Instrumental Recording of the Month on BBC Music magazine. They are working on recording the complete Beethoven symphonies in these Czerny transcriptions. So and they'll be done, they plan, in 2027. So if you tune into this, you're watching a piece of musical history. So there you have it. Okay, then. Did I remember to put up their photo? Yes, hallelujah. I did one thing right so far today when the lamps weren't falling apart on me at the last minute. Okay, so then let us move on to the next group, which was Theotokos. Theotokos, which means sign of God. I'm pretty sure. I know Theo. Anyway, it's from the Greek theos. And tokos, I think, is like, it means sign, but it could mean more like technique. Western music exploded back in 800 AD, yes, when a huge collection of music suddenly appeared all over music written down, sponsored by none other than Charlemagne, who dreamed of a united Europe. Sound familiar? And Midtown Concerts live streams early music ensemble Theotokos to play some of this music for you this Thursday, May 28th. Wow, 1:15 p.m. in New York City, their usual time, 10:15 in LA, and 7:15 in the evening here in Europe. This group is Elise Albion, soprano, Elisa Sutherland, alto, Tracy Cowart on medieval harp, Doug Baliet on psaltery and direction, and I have a misprint in my notes as things continue to go awry today, where I have the name Laken as the tenor. So I hope that's right. So what happened was this notated Western music suddenly miraculously appeared, and it was under the sponsorship of Charlemagne, trying to create this a reformed Roman Empire with music all over it. And one of the main composers was Notker the Stammerer, a 9th century visionary monk who wrote a biography of Charlemagne. So this is really connected with Charlemagne. The Theotokos ensemble is a Baroque church ensemble founded in 2020. They're in residence at St. Mary's Church in Manhattan. They give concerts on a regular basis, and apparently their leader composes new music for them to perform on practically a weekly basis. So this is a hardworking, highly creative group, and they do concerts about things like the music, Passion before Bach, Telemann's Harmonischer Gottesdienst cantatas, music of the 11th century monk Hermann of Reichenau, Charpentier's Leçons de Ténèbres, Lessons of the Shadows, and Sacred Madrigals of Marencio, etc. Looks like a fascinating concert from Midtown Concerts, live streamed to you free of charge again. But I will tell you, they invite you to donate to help support them, and there's always a link on their YouTube channel where you can do that. I would encourage you to do that. This is a great group to support. Heavens to Betsy, I actually put their photo up there too. Who's next, John? Well, next we have a sort of a double group. And it will be on Friday night with 92NY. Creative powerhouse Elizabeth Nunez leads the 60-voice SoHarmoniums Women's Choir, which she founded and has led for the last 20 years in an evening of their favorites, and we are told some bold new works. This will be a 92NY live stream. It will not be free of charge. It's $38 to view their live streams. It'll be at 7:30 New York time, 4:30 on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning here in Europe, 10:30 Saturday morning down under in Australia. It's Friday, May 29th. This is an intergenerational group. Began 20 years ago with 6 women in Soho, and now it's 60 voices, ages 20 to 85. Elizabeth Nunez comes across as a real creative powerhouse, is all I can say. She has built this ensemble from the ground up. She's also the creative director of the award-winning Young People's Chorus of New York City, where she's done a lot of great work with that. Received an Emmy Award for a program she did with them back in 2022. And she's also created, aside from music, a group called WIT, Women Inspiring Tomorrow, since 2014, and it's a mentoring program bringing together high school girls with alumni and accomplished women in varying professions. Like I said, a creative powerhouse. I have looked and looked, they won't tell us what they're going to be playing. So But there you have it. It's there. You know about it. And if you want to enjoy it, there's your chance to enjoy it. Friday night in New York City. Happening. Okay, we move along now to the next of this week's live streams. Saturday, May 30th, March Vivo presents a dramatized concert about Jorge Luis Borges, the novelist, and the tango, with music, dance, and words exploring his connection to the tango through his writings and lectures, the pulse of the suburbs, the violence of the compadrito, and the irremediable melancholy of the passage of time. Oh, when I was at university, we were all in love with Borges' writing. I read everything. Borges apparently had a complicated relationship with tango, and this concert will go all through it. You have a slew of people because you have two dancers, Rebecca Nunez and Melina Greco. On vocals, you've got Mariel Martinez. On the viola, Silvina Alvarez. Ivan Montero on the bandoneon. Laura Asensio on the double bass. And Juan Esteban Coachi on the piano and conducting an elaborate tango session for you. Live stream as ever, free of charge by the Fundación Juan March or March Vivo. Boston's Horizon Ensemble live streams the grand finale of its latest season with a program called Bridges, including works by contemporary composers Ruth Hertzman Miller, Anak Beharn, and Julian Gao, and 20th century composer Frank Bridge. This will be Sunday at 3:00 in the afternoon in Boston. The Horizon Ensemble, if you go to their website, they're described as a community orchestra that plays music of history and music by friends, and there's not a lot more information about them. But they put on a number of highly interesting live stream concerts as the year goes by, and this is the concluding one of this season. It's about bridges between artists and audiences, bridges between people. The first piece they're doing is Ruth Hertzman Miller's The Activity of Sound, very new, composed in 2024. She's a friend of Horizon. They have friends who are composers that they regularly call upon. And this piece was about people coming and going on the Harvard Bridge. Then the next piece is by Anak Beharn. It's called a Schubert tune with a Gershwin touch that was composed just last year. And with it, he was a winner of one of Horizon's latest call for scores. On a regular basis, they issue calls for scores for new compositions, and this young man won the competition. Then they'll do Julian Gao's Serenade, composed in 2024. He's the music director of Horizon, so you know. And then they'll finish up with Frank Bridges' orchestral poem, The Sea, composed in 1911. A very varied, intriguing program from a lovely community orchestra, which seems to punch above its weight class, if you ask me, free of charge. Okay, next we have the concluding live stream this weekend from March Vivo, folks. The KamBrass Quintet is presenting a theatrical metamorphosis of the musical form known as the folia, all the way from a frenetic dance on the Iberian Peninsula in Renaissance times down to its revival in the 20th century through new compositions for brass ensembles. This will be Sunday, May 31st at noon in Europe. The folia apparently is one of the oldest musical forms that can be traced from its origins to the present day, and this group is very much attached to it. The members of the KamBrass Quintet are Inigo Ocon and Joan Pamies on the trumpet, Maria Cervera on the French horn, Xavier Gill on the trombone, and Oriol Reverter on the tuba. They've been around since 2017, won first prize in Ljubljana in 2025, in Lucerne in 2022, the Philip Jones Prize in London in 2024, came in second at the PJIBEC in Birmingham in 2023. I don't know what that is, but if you're a music expert, maybe you do. And they've been at festivals like the Auditori of Barcelona, Santander, Monteleon, Lucerne, Schleswig-Holstein, Bratislava, and the Swiss Chamber Music Festival. They came out with their first album in 2024 called Developments. They all trained at ESMUC and at HSLU in Lucerne. And they finished up their studies at the Music Academia in Basel. So they've been on a journey together of learning. And well, if you love brass quintets, you will love this. The celebrated London Chamber Ensemble Quartet, quote, an all-star group which manages to outdo all its rivals, according to Gramophone, features string quartets by Charles Wood in their latest appearance in the St. Mary's Perivale live stream Sunday, May 31st. It's Madeline Mitchell, violin, who seems to be the real motor behind this group, Gordon McKay on the violin, Bridget Carey on the viola, and Joseph Spooner on the cello. Now, this quartet was formed in 2019, but the London Chamber Ensemble goes all the way back to 1992, and it was Madeline Mitchell who founded the overall group at the request of the Vale of Glamorgan Festival. They needed a group to perform Mes Séances, Quatuor pour la fin du temps, Quatuor for the end of time, etc. And they would play it then and then go on to play it at BBC Proms and glory, glory, glory. But more recently, they have this quartet. They have an album out that came out called Howells and Wood Quartets. So it may have included these Charles Wood quartets, which was widely praised. They've performed late Beethoven for his 250th anniversary, Schubert for the Schubert Society of Great Britain, and they're in demand at festivals like Three Choirs, English Music, the International Red Violin Festival, Leeds, Music in Country Churches, etc., etc., etc. They'll be playing Charles Wood's String Quartet in E-flat, the Highgate Quartet, composed in 1893, and his String Quartet number 5 in F, composed in 1916. A top quartet playing music which you may very well not know. Charles Wood. Enjoy. Then I have one more live stream to tell you about, also from St. Mary's Perivale, which will be next Tuesday. Scotland-based rising star concert pianist Nikita Lukinov graces the stage of St. Mary's Perivale's live stream on Tuesday, June 2nd, playing works by Tchaikovsky, Stanchinsky, Scriabin, Liadov, Mussorgsky, and Franz Liszt. He'll be playing excerpts from the Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker and Sleeping Beauty as arranged by Pletnev. Then Stanchinsky's Three Songs Without Words, Scriabin's Fantasy, Opus 28, Liadov's Prelude from Opus 11, Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, and by Liszt it's Sonetto 104 del Petrarca, and his transcendental etude, Ville de Jagd. Anyway, this guy's gotten great praise from Gramophone, which has written of his extraordinary breadth and freedom of imagination. The Pianist talks about him as a true master of storytelling through music. And when I called him a rising star in my intro, it's because BBC Music Magazine called him that. So he's appeared at places like Wigmore Hall, South Bank Center, Palau de la Musica in Barcelona, Guangzhou and Shanghai opera houses, and of course, since he's originally from Russia, the Tchaikovsky Conservatory in Moscow, and he's been broadcast a lot on different UK radio stations. Did a big tour of Scotland in 2024, 2025, 40 performances, and also a lot of work reaching out to socially disadvantaged communities. He studied, among other places, at the Royal Conservatory of Scotland and has been a lecturer there since 2021. He's a very young lecturer. Folks, this is what we have for you in terms of live streams of chamber music coming to you this week. I hope that one more, some, or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. I think that KamBrass quintet, brass quintet, is going to be a heck of a good time. I mean, come on, all that. I love brass fanfares and the folia as well. Anyway, so with that, I'll leave you. I will be back tomorrow with more information about all the wonderful live streaming going on this week. Ciao.